V2 ovens were recently picked by Wirecutter as their top luxury built-in oven choice. So we're seeing that there is more interest in these. Typically, JennAir is not a it's not a hot seller. I think people tend to like brands above this, or maybe tiers right around this, in like Thermador by Bosch, or the Monogram line, which would be like an upgrade from Cafe. JennAir is a upgrade from KitchenAid, and you'll see that the styling is, in their Rise series, kind of similar to KitchenAid, just a little bit different, kind of a thicker handle, and then you don't get that little red accent that you see on a KitchenAid. Inside their base ovens, you have more of a KitchenAid interior, so single convection fan with that kind of large box around it. It looks like they've got 3 racks. 2 of the racks are on these full extension racks. You'll notice with JennAir ovens that you get this kind of flat tine system in here. And on this version, you'll have halogen lights on the left and right, and then you've got that broiler with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 passes, and then a recessed bake element. Now in this version, you'll have a touchscreen, which does differ from the KitchenAid ovens in that, KitchenAid will have a little kind of a clock radio readout with some sensor controls with the various modes under those little sensor options. Here you can kind of swipe through various baking, broiling, and roasting modes, select your temperature, and then when you hit start, it'll do a little animation, and there's a little flame that will come on. Now, as this gets closer to the end of the screen, it's kind of indicating that you're getting closer to your target preheat temperature. A feature KitchenAid ovens have is that they'll preheat about 25 degrees over that target temperature. So I don't know if that's the case here, if this will actually go to 375. And then they assume that when you open the door that you're going to lose about 20-25 degrees. So that makes sense that they do that. I'd be surprised if they don't do it in the JennAir ovens. They did recently get a little bit of an update. You'll notice when you see the door and the control panel where they meet that there's a rather large distance. I'd say that's like, I don't know, not quite 3. It's probably like a 5/8 inch opening. More recently, they've tightened that down to like 1/8, which looks a lot better. Somebody told me that that's part of a government mandate to not have big gaps in there, so kids aren't like getting their fingers stuck in there. I don't know, but anyhow, so this is their kind of standard, or what I refer to as their kind of builder series of ovens. Essentially a KitchenAid with a JennAir styling package. And again, this is in the Rise series. This is in their more modern NOIR series. Now, this version of the oven, you can see, has a large or a much larger touchscreen interface. And that is not specific to the styling, because they offer this upgraded display in both the Rise and the NOIR series. But the premium, and I refer to this as the V2 ovens, the V2, which probably stands for twin vertical convection fans. Obviously, the main difference is you get that upgraded convection system. Each one of those convection heaters has an extremely powerful heating element. I think that at the time when this was launched, they would advertise that it was the most powerful convection heater in an oven from a wattage standpoint, and you actually got 2 of them. So that was kind of a neat thing. Lighting wise, not a big difference. So really, probably from a performance standpoint, there may be a wattage difference in the broiler and the bake element, but maybe not a totally different configuration. However, the convection heaters get upgraded significantly. If you're not planning on using convection, you want a high quality oven at a decent price point, you know, that lower tier of ovens, and I'll throw some models in the description for you guys to reference, is probably a good value. For me, I don't think I would purchase a JennAir oven and not get the twin vertical fan system, because I feel like I'd want to use that. If you're really into air frying is essentially air impingement. It's movement of heat, getting the food into the heat into the center of the protein or food faster. So, you know, having a dual convection system is going to give you that air fry effect significantly better than a single fan convection system, I imagine. But in addition to that, back to the display, larger display. I want to say this was like 5 inches versus 3 inches from memory. You'll have a number of additional modes in this one, if I recall correctly. And then the main difference is the Culinary Center. So the Culinary Center, you have, there's so much light in here. You have a number of different types of protein, veggies and things in here. When you select it, where it differs from other manufacturers who've come up with an automated cooking guide or a built-in user guide, you know, in most instances, they're just going to give you some text displaying, you know, the option to select the protein, and then they may give you the target temperature for the roast probe, if the roast probe is going to get used, but not a lot of information, you know. So if you're curious to, you know, how the roast probe is going to go in the protein, this will actually show you a picture of that. So, you know, here if I select prime rib, the very next screen is actually going to show you prime rib, but it's actually going to show you at the temperature that you've requested it. So, you know, here's well done. Ugh, God, that looks gross. And then, you know, probably where I would go, medium rare, or even, you know, because these are going to automatically cook more towards the safety side of things, and you know, you might want to hit your target temperature more towards rare and then let it continue to cook just a couple degrees beyond that if you want, I don't know. But in either case, you're getting this this picture here kind of showing you how that will come out. You'll hit next. And then on the next screen, it's actually going to say, you know what, the cookware is going to affect its timing and, you know, temperature. So they have you input the type of cooking vessel, which is kind of cool. And then, you know, here it is. So their target temperature for that rare is 130, which is kind of where I'd want it, maybe a few degrees less than that. And then if you scroll down a little, you know, you've got some additional information, you know, food safety guidelines from the government. You've got the specific position, you know, you open up the oven and there is kind of, you can kind of see, not super well, but they've embossed some numbers in here. But that screen, you know, it's showing you, there it is, you know, and then scroll down a little further. Oven temperature has been predetermined by the food and the selections you've made on the previous screens. Place the food on rollout rack number 3. When cooking is complete, you will be prompted to remove the food from the oven. Wow, that really takes you step by step. But this is where I was going. So this is neat. They actually show you, like, this is how you want to get the probe in there. So I've used probes before, you know, and I'm a little bit of a novice in some areas, and, you know, I want to make sure I don't mess up an expensive cut of meat. So I sometimes Google where or how to put a probe to get a good accurate reading on my protein, and I like that they actually did that for you. If we hit start, it's going to tell me to, well, find the probe and put that in there. But then it'll automatically go into its cooking mode. Now there is Wi-Fi connectivity. I'll do a separate video where I'll walk you through the process of setting this thing up on the Wi-Fi network, downloading the app, and then kind of showing how that technology works, and then maybe see if there's any benefit to having Wi-Fi connectivity other than remote off and remote on functionality. I suspect there are firmware updates. So there are, you know, when you turn this off, this is going to have a, you know, a very basic background, but you can actually change the design of the wallpaper there to other things. So they'll probably add additional wallpapers, maybe additional cooking modes could be added, and then of course like air fry, and then also additional automated cooking options. Some of that may be available in the app already, and I just don't know. So that is the, like I said, the Rise V2 oven with the large screen. There is, I'm sorry, the NOIR. There is a Rise version with the rounded handle and then more stainless steel. And then just to give you an idea of what that newer model with the slimmer door looks like. So just to go back, here's that kind of 5/8 opening. And then here is the little, I don't know, like 1/4 inch gap. I do think that looks a lot better. And it looks like it carries down in between the two ovens as well. By the way, in addition to single and double ovens, they do make a quote unquote speed oven, or kind of like a convection oven in that same styling. You can purchase a combination microwave speed oven and oven. It is nice from an installation standpoint in that you only have one cutout. You have one electric line with probably a slightly higher amperage run to it. And then down below, ordinarily, you know, a separate oven and microwave, you'd have maybe one 10-inch drawer. You know, here you could probably have two 10-inch drawers. I think you're shrinking from like a 50-inch, 52-inch height down to about 41 or 42 inches. So you would pick up some additional space. However, I caution most of my clients on doing this. I typically advise to separate them from a service standpoint. I'm old enough to remember when there was you know, TVs with VCRs built in, you know, and if you needed to like clean the heads on the VCR, the whole TV had to come apart, and it wasn't worth it. You know, you would just have to buy another one. So building a microwave into an oven cavity like this can be problematic in a number of ways. One, you know, even high quality microwaves typically don't last as long as an oven. And then two, you know, if the display were to go out, well, you're out both of your oven cells, you know, and your microwave. So not great. These are sold as an alternative to a double oven because the convection heater in this can get the microwave cavity up to 450 degrees. You do get a little baking sheet that fits on the ledge, in addition to the turntable, a little non-stick pan with a little hand gripper, and then some baking racks for various heights. And if you look at the roof, there's a broiler. This is not a self-cleaning oven though. So this is your microwave. You know, if you have a messy microwave and you start, you know, preheating this thing to, you know, like 400 degrees, all that food's gonna get baked in. The stainless interior, which is this, you know, color now, will bronze because of that heat. You know, I do like them for having a second oven in a pinch. I do like the fact that you can reheat things crispy in them, but keep in mind that anything that's gonna create a big mess, you know, is gonna be a little bit of a bear to clean. I don't know if they give you the option of unclipping that broiler to clean it. I don't see that they do, but maybe they do. But again, you can buy this separately and have that installed over the oven. I think from a pricing standpoint, it's about the same. So you're typically better off doing that and just spending a little more money to have a shelf put in between the two and running two separate electric lines. The oven's probably gonna be around 30 amps. The microwave's probably gonna be around 20 amps. Don't quote me on that. Double check your specs before you tell your electrician what to run. But that is the Rise and NOIR ovens, and we'll go back to the Rise real fast so you can see that styling, which is a little more popular in our market. And of course, they offer that on refrigerators, built-in refrigerators. They have a freestanding refrigerator. They have pro ranges. They have under-counter refrigeration. They have obviously two completely different, you know, series, the NOIR and the Rise. So there's, you know, NOIR ranges and beverage centers, and then here again are their matching refrigerators. They've also started to offer kind of more European sizes for, I suspect, for condominiums, and then maybe more for global markets. So this is an example of their steam oven in the NOIR series. This is a little 60 centimeter oven. I honestly think that having a full-size oven is great for like Thanksgiving and entertaining, but for day-to-day cooking and for really great baking results, I always think having these little compact European ovens are great to have as an auxiliary. So, if you were kind of contemplating between a double oven with a microwave drawer or an oven microwave combination like this, I'd say, doing a oven microwave combination like this, and then where you're going to put the microwave drawer on the island, maybe consider having a little auxiliary oven that you could use for just smaller things. Typically, these are not self-cleaning in Europe. I think for the US market, something like this probably will be self-cleaning. And then here's just a smaller version of that speed oven that you can get. And they also, like Wolf, offer a DeLonghi built coffee system that is really nice. I'm still going to be preferential to the Miele, but this is not a bad design. And I think if you look at the Wolf version, you might spend anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 more. So yeah, that is that series. And again, that series. Dishwashers, by the way, dishwashers are made by KitchenAid. These will not have that upgraded KDTM style wash system with the self-cleaning pump. You do have a filter in the bottom of these dishwashers simply because the goal of this brand is to be one of the quietest luxury brands. So this dishwasher, to get down to that 39 decibel rating, couldn't have that secondary cleaning pump, but it does now get that upgraded third rack as an option for premium dishwashers. JennAir, if you're not familiar with the brand, they're known for their cooktops with integrated vents. Weirdly enough, we do not have one of those on display. We do have some of their induction tops with the multi-flex zones there. And then here's an example of one of their drop-in cooktops. They'll use brass in all the flame spreaders for their burners, which is kind of nice. And got a smaller guy here. Now, this is something that I don't typically like. I don't like having these knobs running across the cooking surface at the base because everything gets squished. You'll also see companies where they run the knobs along one side, and of course that squishes the grates this way. It is attractive looking, but for larger pans, and trying to put something front and back, you won't have as much real estate. So I don't know, I really like the way this cooktop looks. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the way they've configured the knobs to run all the way across, although it does look attractive. They also offer customizable tops. So this is something that's pretty popular with a lot of the European brands in the luxury side, where you'd get to build your own cooktop. Honestly, I have gas in my house. I love induction. My plan is to replace my gas cooking with induction, just because I think it's superior in every way. But I do like the gas for certain things, and I'm a firebug. I love gas open flames. So this is kind of neat. You could actually have induction and gas in your cooking system. They also offer a teppanyaki grill, mirrored grill, which is what you're seeing here. And then they also have an induction wok, which is pretty cool. Never actually cooked on this, so I can't comment on how great that is or isn't. Same thing with the teppanyaki. These are all 15 inches, so this is actually a pretty decent area, but I don't know if that's sufficient for doing a big meal. But if you have any questions about the brand, or you'd like more information on one of these products, please let me know in the comments below. If you really appreciate all the information that you got in this video and you want to learn more, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, and share if you're in the industry and you want other people to know about these things. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.